I always thought my life with Lisa would be simple. We met in college, fell in love, and built a life that, on the surface, seemed perfect. Our wedding was lavish, a dream come true, or so I thought. But love, I learned, can blind you to the truth hiding in plain sight. It all started months after our marriage when Lisa suggested we take a DNA test for a genetic health report. I thought it was harmless, a bit of curiosity, and I agreed. We mailed our samples together, joking about future children and knowing our health risks. Then the results arrived. I stared at the report, frozen. The lab had included a warning that our genetic markers didn't match as expected for a married couple with the same child. Lisa had requested a paternity test for herself. My heart skipped a beat. I checked the numbers again and again. There was no mistake. The child I had thought was mine, the child we celebrated at our wedding, the child we introduced to our families, was not biologically mine. Shock turned to disbelief, disbelief to cold fury. The reality hit me like a freight train. Lisa had been unfaithful during the wedding. While we exchanged vows, while I smiled and kissed my bride, she had betrayed me. The evidence was irrefutable. I didn't confront her immediately. I couldn't. Anger and heartbreak were coiled tight inside me, a dangerous energy I needed to control. I began to observe her quietly, gathering evidence of her past indiscretions. Old emails, hidden social media accounts, text messages from people I had never heard of. Everything pointed to the same horrifying truth. She had been playing a double game. But I didn't act on impulse. True revenge, I realized, required patience, strategy, and precision. I needed her betrayal to be undeniable to everyone she cared about. Nuclear revenge isn't about yelling or confrontation. It's about exposure so complete that the consequences are unavoidable. I started by compiling all evidence: photos, messages, emails, financial records that hinted at secret meetings, even witnesses who had seen her with other men during periods I had trusted her. Each piece was meticulously labeled, dated, and backed up. I was building a dossier of betrayal that would leave no room for denial. Then I planned the delivery. I didn't want to humiliate her in public for the sake of spectacle. I wanted the truth to reach the people who mattered most. Her family, her friends, her professional contacts, all of them would need to know the truth of the woman they had celebrated. I sent carefully packaged boxes to her relatives, each containing copies of the DNA report, the messages, and a factual letter explaining the betrayal. I also included emails to her work colleagues where relevant, making it impossible for her to spin the story or claim ignorance. The fallout was immediate. Her mother called, horrified. Her father demanded explanations. Her siblings, cousins, and close friends were in shock. I stayed silent, letting the evidence speak for itself. And then Lisa came home, expecting her life to be normal, unaware that the nuclear chain of consequences had already begun. When she saw the first box, the shock and fear on her face were nearly cinematic. Her hands shook as she opened the packages and she finally understood. I knew everything. She tried to speak, to excuse herself, to manipulate the situation as she always had, but the evidence was overwhelming. The DNA report alone left no room for denial. Every message, every secret meeting, every lie, it was all laid bare. Her panic was palpable. She realized that everyone she cared about now knew her true nature. Her friends distanced themselves, her family was outraged, and her colleagues were questioning her character. Even the man she had been seeing, naive enough to think he could keep it secret, faced consequences as I revealed the truth to mutual acquaintances. I watched the chaos unfold from a distance. I could have screamed, I could have attacked, but I didn't. The revenge was not in theatrics. It was in precision. The fallout was complete, irreversible, and undeniably tied to her actions. Lisa begged, cried, and tried to negotiate. I made a mistake, she whispered. It was one time. But one time had cost her trust, reputation, and relationships. One time had changed everything. I told her simply, you chose this. You chose betrayal. I simply showed the world the truth. The divorce process was swift and clean, thanks to the mountain of evidence I had compiled. Her attempts to argue for assets or sympathy were drowned by the undeniable proof of her infidelity. I walked away with dignity intact, financial stability secured, and a sense of justice served. In the following months, I reflected on what had happened. Lisa's life was fractured. Friends and family looked at her differently. The man she had been unfaithful with lost his place in her life and in the community. I realized that the revenge wasn't just about punishment. It was about accountability. Her actions had consequences, and I ensured they were unavoidable. I learned that true revenge isn't about anger. It's about patience, strategy, and clarity. It's about giving someone the space to realize the truth and letting it unfold naturally. My nuclear revenge didn't come from malice. It came from meticulous planning, restraint, and timing. Years later, I can say I am at peace. The betrayal that once consumed me now serves as a lesson. Trust must be earned, actions have consequences, and truth, once revealed, cannot be hidden. I rebuilt my life with caution, but also with clarity, knowing I had faced the ultimate test of loyalty, deception, and justice. The wedding day that was meant to be perfect is now a distant memory, a moment forever stained by betrayal, but also the catalyst for one of the most precise acts of justice I have ever executed. Nuclear revenge, I learned, doesn't need fireworks or chaos. It simply needs truth, strategy, and unwavering resolve. In the end, I didn't just survive her betrayal, I orchestrated its exposure, ensured accountability, and reclaimed my life. And in that I found closure, peace, and the profound satisfaction that comes from knowing deception cannot endure under the light of truth.